Well, now it's time for our press review with Antonia Kerrigan, who's over by the touchscreen. The UK Parliament is set for a knife-edge vote on their assisted dying in England and Wales today. Tell us more.
Yes, good morning. Let's look at the recent polling. Recent polling suggests that 73% of the public supports this bill. That's a YouGov poll from last week. However, whether or not it will pass is a wholly different issue. The Guardian has this piece on Kim Leadbeater's last call for support ahead of the vote. She says she's the MP leading the charge on this bill, and she says it's a once-in-a-decade opportunity. Indeed, it was assisted dying in England and Wales was last debated in 2015. She makes the analogy with women's body autonomy, saying that abortion rights for women are akin to assisted dying rights for the terminally ill. However, she's also said that the law in its current state is not fit for purpose, needs to change. But she's calling on her colleagues with doubts to vote for it anyway, promising further work on the wording before the next reading in April. She's repeatedly insisted that safeguards are in place in the face of criticism that the bill could lead to a slippery slope. And indeed, one judge and two doctors are needed to sign off on any individual case of assisted dying. It's set for a 5-hour vote today, debate in Parliament, followed by a vote. Let's have a look at some of the criticism now. Unheard has this extremely scathing piece. "Do not trust the assisted dying bill safeguards," is the headline. Now, this article points out that in the current wording of the bill, the first doctor who signs off can then choose the second doctor to give that all-important second opinion, which questions, of course, the independence of that decision. The article also points out there are only 18 High Court family law judges to sign off on all of these cases, and critics say there could be as many as 400 applications per year per judge. Proponents of the bill say it would be considerably less, but the article argues that that leaves very little room for scrutiny. Also, the other major criticism is that doctors can make the first move in terms of suggesting this as a form of healthcare. And of course, that raises questions about coercion against the backdrop of a strained healthcare system, collapsing social care, and in some cases, a struggling family. How could a person not feel coerced? Is the argument made in this article. The Financial Times also has this piece on what it describes as a palliative care postcode lottery across England, saying that the National Health Care Service, as well as a hospice care shortfall, has created massive inequalities nationwide in the availability of healthcare to make the final months of life comfortable.
All right, complicated issue there. Here in France, meanwhile, we're in the midst of parliamentary chaos. Tell us more.
Yes, well, we've seen it all before, and yet here we are again. So, Le Monde has this yesterday. Marine Le Pen said, today it's Thursday, he has until Monday. That is addressed to the Prime Minister Michel Barnier. It's quite literally an ultimatum. The Prime Minister's social security budget next week is unlikely to pass. The left have promised a vote of no confidence, and Michel Barnier is desperately trying to keep the far right in the fold so they won't vote for that no confidence vote and bring down the government. Now, Libération has this piece on the concessions he has made, one of them on electricity tax. So they have this rather waggish headline. Electricity, Michel Barnier does not want to be unplugged. He's gone back on his planned increase in tax on electricity. He's also promising a huge reform on state healthcare support for undocumented immigrants. All this on the demand of Le Pen's National Rally. According to this article, National Rally big dogs, if you will, are crying victory in unison. And one member of Macron's party, cited in this article, described them as master blackmailers who, according to this source, like all master blackmailers, will always want more. Now, La Croix has this piece on why no confidence vote now seems inevitable. They say that, according to our National Rally sources, the government has been under surveillance and they've been running a permanent cost-benefit analysis on bringing down the government since this government entered office. And of course, one analyst points out in the article that the National Rally has been criticised by some of its supporters for not following through on threats sometimes. 53% of the French support a no-confidence vote, 67% of those people National Rally supporters. And the move is arguably low risk. This isn't an enormously popular government they will be potentially bringing down. So the National Rally may see this as their best opportunity.
And amid all the turmoil, lots of French people are obviously looking forward to the reopening of Notre-Dame, but that's got political as well, hasn't it?
Absolutely. If you were excited for some nice pictures and no politics, think again. The front page of Libération is probably sacrilegious, but we're in a religious country. Here we have Emmanuel Macron as if depicted on a stained glass window with a shining halo. And the headline, Macron à Notre-Dame se l'enseigne. Se l'enseigne is, of course, a pun. Scène in French is the Last Supper, and se l'enseigne also means alone on the stage, as if in a one-man show. So this Last Supper suggestion, perhaps, that this may be one of Emmanuel Macron's last victories. A victory it is, of course, because the morning after the fire, 5 years ago, the president promised to reopen the cathedral within 5 years. No one believed him, no one took him seriously, and he plans on enjoying that victory. Now let's look at the Parisien for some images of the church. Notre-Dame de Paris, plus belle que jamais, more beautiful than ever, says the front page of Le Parisien. And if we look at the inside pages, they've got some pictures of how it looks now. Firstly, let's look at this horror movie-esque before and after. After the fire, of course, extremely bleak. And this is it, resplendent and restored. Let's have a look at this Royal Saint Ferdinand Chapel, which was apparently already in dire need of restoration before the fire, with a thick layer of pollution covering, masking all of these beautiful colours. Now, once again, revealed after they scraped away all that pollution and got rid of all those lead particles and restored the paintwork. Let's also look at the 35-metre vault, of course, quintessential to the Gothic architectural style. This vaulting was brought down by the spire, which fell, of course, and there it is back up. And then, of course, this is the statue of the Virgin Mary and Child, which survived the fire unscathed, widely described, in fact, as a miraculous survival, which is now back in the cathedral and entered the cathedral this week in much pomp and ceremony. So we'll look forward to more images as that is more and more revealed.
Yeah, we'll get live footage of that in just a couple hours' time here on France 24. Thanks for that, Antonia. I've never seen it look like that on the inside. I mean, without this fire happening, we would never have got it even restored like that. It's a remarkable job they've done. Thanks for that press review, Antonia. Stay tuned. There's a lot more coming up on France 24.